Hi everybody, and welcome back to Catamaran Impi. Yeah, we've been very slow with videos as usual. Many people have actually asked us to please share some of the stories on video that we've been sharing with them in the sailing community about our sailing around Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and back through West Sumatra during COVID season, and some amazing stories of how, you know, on our first travels we met people who later would help us to get back to Australia. How kind Australia was actually to allow us to come back to Australia after we'd left Australia for South Africa. So our intention was to sail back to South Africa and to come around the world again. And we just, with COVID, everything changed for us, and Australia was very gracious in allowing us back here. So tomorrow morning, very early, we are leaving Gladstone for Lady Musgrave, and I believe that internet may not be that great there. We've been there before. I don't remember about internet being good or bad there. In case it's not good, I thought to quickly just sit down tonight before we go. We're always in a rush, but to see if I can't get this video out for you. This video is just the start of this trip, so I thought I'd take it right from the start when we leave Australia, cruising up the east coast of Australia, because Australia is a beautiful country and probably I haven't given it enough justice in our videos. And so I'd like to just show our departure from SouthPort, moving up through the east coast of Australia. We can't show it all, so we'll just show you glimpses and some of the things we've had to think about with tidal planning and currents and that sort of thing as we go up the east coast of Australia all the way up to Thursday Island. I share stories of fantastic people who just help us to get to our destinations always, wherever we may be. And in the later series, I will be sharing about the wonderful people in Indonesia who did a similar thing for us, helping us before COVID, and how friendships that we built during that time ended up being friendships of absolute kindness and help to get Impi back to Australia. So guys, this is a blockbuster movie. It's probably going to be long and boring for many people. Just take it slow. You know, this is the idea. I'm not doing this for money. We don't do YouTube videos for an income. We literally are sharing this because a lot of people have asked us to please share these stories that we've been telling them of our travels back to Australia through COVID times. So I hope you enjoy this video. As I mentioned, it's a blockbuster style video. Just take your time with it. If it gets boring for you, sorry. But you guys asked me to share it, and I'm starting with the cruise up the east coast of Australia. Guys, in the video you'll hear a song called Fly Impi Fly. This wonderful man called Mike Tidwell and his associates wrote this song specifically for Impi. I think Mike is a guy who looked after horses and did a lot of animal welfare towards horses, and somehow we touched his heart with our animal welfare programs in New Caledonia to do with dogs on the outer islands. And so Mike has been watching our videos forever and a day, and he's a musician. He's a fantastic guy. Please look up the name Mike Tidwell, Google him, follow his music channels. He's a great person. Many people who are associated with him in music have written to me to tell me that they absolutely love the man. And so it would be lovely if you guys would look him up and support him, subscribe to his YouTube channel, and give him some encouragement. But you'll hear the song Fly Impi Fly. I actually end this video with the music Fly Impi Fly, and we use a bit of it in the video too. So listen out for that, actually, because he told me he was going to do this because we touched him through our programs. And it took a long time for him. He obviously, with COVID and all of that, he was sending files to other musicians who were then working on it and sending the files backwards and forwards to each other. So we feel absolutely honored and blessed, really honored and blessed that somebody like Mike Tidwell would write this song for us, Fly Impi Fly. Please support him. Okay guys, something else that's maybe just worth mentioning is you're going to see Impi with different gear on board in this particular video. So you'll see Ray Marine gear in one screenshot maybe, and you'll see B&G gear in another screenshot. You'll see one brand of dinghy on the back of the boat. and followed by our new Highfield dinghy in another shot. That's because when we left Australia, we had purchased this new dinghy, which was an absolute disaster. I will do something on this down the road. But the dinghy literally was just trouble from day one. In fact, the whole deal was just trouble from day one. It included Anna actually being told she can't drive a dinghy, and so they were giving her lessons on how to drive it. In the meantime, the guys had connected the forward and reverse the wrong way round, and they were blaming her for not being able to cope with the dinghy. Get the dinghy on the trailer, and then when they pull off with the trailer, the dinghy falls off the trailer with Anna in it onto the boat ramp. And so eventually, when we got back to Australia, we just went, look, guys, that's it. We just want nothing further to do with this dinghy. It was just drama the whole way. And so we end up with a Highfield tender. Highfield have been absolutely fantastic. And I've just got to say on this note, there's a guy called John Lance, and he owns a marine distribution company down in Southport at the Gold Coast, and he is Marine Trade Supplies. And guys, I'm giving a big thumbs up for John Lance. He really heard about all the issues that we were having, and he came down to us at the boatworks. He introduced us to Highfield tenders. Highfield came down. They were absolutely shocked at what they saw, and everybody just got involved to help us out there. And that's why I promote Highfield, not because I'm trying to make money out of Highfield, because I don't. I don't, like some other channels, very well-known guys sailing out there, actually get paid sometimes to present products on their videos. We don't. We actually do it from a good space. If somebody shows us that their product is really good and that they give us good support on it, we like to share that with you because we think it's important for the sailing community. We've been doing this for 10 years. We've been sailing full-time for 10 years, and we think it's important that the community out there sailing the oceans share good experiences and bad experiences with each other so that we can learn from each other and offer support to the guys who really support cruisers. I'm giving John Lance from Marine Trade Supplies a huge thumbs up. Thank you very much, John, for all you did for Catamaran MP this past year. So yeah, guys, this is the story again of leaving Australia and hitting COVID when we arrived in West Sumatra, and our travel back through Indonesia. Very tough times. People were nervous, chasing us on, people quietly helping us and giving us support and just helping Impi to get back to Australia. And of course, Australia itself, you know, was closing on all boats. And we were actually told by a guy in Australia who deals with boats a lot on the East Coast in particular, that there was no ways we were going to get back into Australia. And actually Australia opened up their doors for us. And you know, guys, as kind as Australia's been to let us back in, we've been incredibly fortunate all around. We felt fortunate throughout Indonesia. Indonesia really looked out for us. Australia really looked out for us. While we were back in Australia, and I'll share this more in detail in my last video, but the President of New Caledonia himself amended the law. It was gazetted there that notwithstanding the laws, Catamaran Impi is welcome to arrive, and that was by his authority. So we feel very privileged. We were about to leave Australia because we didn't want to overstay our welcome here in Australia. As it is, our boat has been in Australia too long, which then brings up import issues. They've just been very kind to us about all of this because of COVID. Delta variant hit New Caledonia. We quickly got hold of Australia and said we are entitled to go to New Caledonia, but the Delta variant has just hit there, and would it be possible for us to stay a little bit longer, which has now extended into cyclone season, so we can't go until next year. Early next year we'll be heading back to New Caledonia. So amazing stories that we have. We have stories coming up for you guys of storms we've been in. One storm, very sadly, a ship capsized. We actually sailed into the debris of that ship, and unfortunately 12 souls were lost on that particular passage. It was a very difficult passage at night to get through. I wanted to anchor under a volcano, and Anna and I had a little bit of a debate because I always wanted to go and anchor under Krakatoa, and she wins the argument, so you know, we moved on to the next island, and that night Krakatoa went off in grandson. These are the stories we're going to share with you guys to the future videos as we come back into Australia. But if you see different gear, it's because we're shooting footage on our way up north to Thursday Island, and then we've shot some of that footage on the east coast of Australia after our time back to Australia. And we've just taken the best shots that we've got of different areas so that you get the best viewing pleasure out of that. If I can't get any reception out of Lady Musgrave, where we'll be over Christmas on Impi, a happy Christmas to you all. I hope it's a fantastic season for you guys. Cheers, everybody.
What a beautiful day.
Yeah, it's stunning, eh?
Beautiful.
Absolutely stunning. We'll see you down the line.
We will. Take care.
I saw you in the AIS. I was like, hey, I know this bloke.
Yeah, how's it going, man?
Yeah, good yourself.
Yeah, very good. We're going to be heading off to Indo this year.
Indonesia.
Yeah.
When are you leaving?
Well, we're heading up to Thursday Island, so July.
So you're hanging around here now?
Yeah, so now we're going north to WHITSUNDAYS, Gladstone. It's a rough life, man. I'm really happy the South Africans kicked us out. It was the best thing that happened. Some of you may remember this, but back in 2016, when we first arrived in Australia, a boat with Coast Guard written on it. It's VMR, Volunteer Marine Rescue Services, but back then we just knew it as Coast Guard, had called over the radio and asked Impi if they could come alongside and board us. And this was AJ, the same fellow who was saying goodbye to us all these years later, who had brought us gifts, an ex-South African guy bringing us some gifts as we arrived into Australia. Awesome guy. He's my old pal, bringing us South African biltong, man. Do you guys know what South African biltong is? Yeah, we do.
I came to the city as a cyclone, and I loved it like a strike of lightning.
Hey, Brent, Anna.
Yeah,
Well, hey.
hey, thanks for all the friendship and everything, AJ. Nice to see you again.
Yeah. So the boat's cracked spanking new now, eh?
Yeah, she's feeling good again.
She looks good. All right, guys.
Cheers, hey.
All the best.
Keep well.
Give my regards to Broadway, 'cause I'm getting down on Music Road. Riding off into the sunset with my blue guitar by my side. You and me and rock and roll, still got the number to my soul, and you can call me up anytime you wanna dance. Watching on me, we started playing the honky tonks, electricity flowing through our veins, and some coffee from the Hermitage. We rocked and we rolled and we put on a show and sent them all to outer space. Then I picked up the chime for one more time and said he's one for the road on me. Riding off into the sunset with my blue guitar by my side.
Well, the Great Sandy Straits on the inside of Fraser Island is magical. But to enter here, one has to do so by crossing a sandbar, Wide Bay Bar. In fact, sands shift about the ocean floor in ongoing motion here, and this makes sailors really nervous. Lead lights are present here at Wide Bay Bar, but best take care and ask VMR in Tin Can Bay for the latest coordinates. Now, these folks are fantastic. Every time we've passed through here, VMR have sent us the information, as can be seen here. Now, as for any bar crossing, we watch tides and we watch the associated tidal stream or current that goes with that. Of course, an ebbing tide that's high to low means that the main body of the ocean is dropping, so water flows out of the straits towards the ocean. And on a flooding tide, the opposite happens, and the main body of the ocean is rising and pushes the water back into the straits. We want to make sure that wind is also playing ball here, in that wind against current means standing waves are possible, so we want light winds or winds in the same direction as the tidal current. This is all part of our planning. Because the sandy straits are open to the ocean both in the southern end and the northern end, water within the strait will theoretically move at a midpoint somewhere in opposite directions. Now, in the sandy strait, this happens near the southern tip of Turkey Island. North of this point, ebb tides flow to the north, and south of this point, ebb tides flow to the south. Of course, the opposite happens on flood tides. Garrys Anchorage on a beautiful sunny morning. Well, cheers to the morning. Beautiful coffee. We had a great stay here last night. We always love it up here. It's one of those anchorages that's protected from all winds. The locals always warn us about mosquitoes here. So far we've been pretty lucky. Going to idle that way. If we sit on the bank, we just wait for the tide to go.
Do you think we're going to get stuck?
If we get stuck, we're going to sit and have coffee and wait for the tide to come in and get us out of there. Pretty shallow. Oh, we touched.
0.8.
Trying to get back off.
Is it happening or not?
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah. It says we're in 40 meters now.
It's the mud. What do we have here? Some coffee. Oh, thank you, love. Cheers to the morning. An additional Genoa sheet gives me the ability to move the Genoa car easily, but it also provides more trimming options to the Genoa position. When it comes to trimming sails, we enjoy not having to point the boat into the wind when we reef. This takes practice and involves easing the main halyard whilst cranking in on the reef line. A bit more complex than this, but practice makes it happen. Well, there's a lot of technique to this. It also involves allowing the boom to do some of the work. Got to keep the lines even between the luff and the leech. Therefore, we allow the wind to do some of the work. We allow the motion of the waves to do some of the work.
Right, now we bring in number 2. This is reef line number 2.
Eventually you have the experience to do it in any sort of wind conditions.
Really lovely sailing. We've got enough wind, hopefully, to get us to Lady Musgrave on time. We left Fraser Island around about 6:30 this morning, and we're trying to get to Lady Musgrave while we've still got daylight hours. We've got to get into a lagoon. I've used SAS Planner to plot a course into the lagoon area, and thanks to a guy called Jim Fleming, who shared some sort of tracks of his own, or just gave us some guidelines as to where most boats go in. That's really cool, Jim. Thanks, mate. And the wind is 41 knots going into this passage. See the white birds in the trees? Look at his little wet feet, huh? He's beautiful.
Sailing up the east coast of Australia, one needs to really understand how currents and tides work and how the wind comes into the mix of all of this. Sailing between the islands near the reef can be pretty challenging and uncomfortable if one does not get this right. So we found it's really good to plan things. Up on this stretch of coastline, tides north of Broadsound and south of MacKay on a rising tide or a flooding tide causes a southerly tidal current flow, and the ebb or descending tide is a northwards flow. South of Broadsound is the opposite. A flooding tide is northwards and an ebbing tide is southwards. We look at all of this with wind, opposing tides or currents, and it gives us a good feel of what we're in for. Before getting too far north, the locals have encouraged us to visit islands like the Keppel Islands, to do Gladstone with the Narrows, navigating through the Narrows. So let me just talk a little bit about these ones. They are worth mentioning and they are beautiful places.
April showers in the month of May. The ground's still wet and the sky's still grey.
It's a beautiful evening here off North Keppel. We're just enjoying ourselves with a very, very beautiful sunset. Stunning place, North Keppel Island here in Australia.
But you're still singing. and it keeps me breathing. When I fall apart to a million pieces, when I don't know where to start, you put me back together. You put me back together again.
This is North Keppel Island. We've come back. Very beautiful. Anna and I are going to do a little exploring again today.
Darling, I'll be steady when you're at the end of your tired road. When you're feeling trapped and just need to go. Darling, I'll be ready when you fall apart.
What a beautiful little beach.
You don't know where to start.
Impi's anchored at the back over there.
Put you back together. I'll put you back together again. I'll put you back together. I'll put you back together again. When I fall apart
Great Keppel Island.
into a million pieces, and I don't know where to start. When I forget where my peace is. When you fall apart.
The Keppel Islands were really a great visit, a nice place just to stop for a short while and enjoy the tranquility. One does need mosquito spray there, so be warned. Where we're going also needs mosquito spray. It's called the Narrows, and some sailors here are nervous of it.
Right, so we are approaching the Narrows here. When I say the Narrows, it's this passage going to Gladstone. This is on the north side. Got my mate Coffee Cat out front there. So this is the north side of the passage.
Okay, and similar to what we discussed before, tides is very important here. It affects the current flow through this passage called the Narrows. Because there are two entrances, a north and south side to this passage, the rising tide or ebbing tide will affect the flow of water into and out of this passage, and in the passage, in the Narrows, there will be conflict in this. As mentioned before, when the ocean is rising or flooding, it is forcing water into these channels. When it is ebbing or lowering, then the body of the ocean is going down and it is draining water out of the Narrows. The point at which conflict happens here in the Narrows is here where I've marked this red mark on my charts, and it is the point that we want to really keep focus on, because we want to transit the passage with the current working in our favor as far as possible. The challenge here really, as can be seen on the chart, is that a section of the passage about 7 miles long is green, meaning there is, at low tide, there is no water here. So at 0.0 lat, that's the lowest astronomical tide, an area referred to as Cattle Crossing will be around 1.6 meters above sea level. Therefore, a tide of 1.6 meters at sea level Gladstone will be more or less 0.0 meters lat at the Cattle Crossing. This means that sailors need to understand that in order to cross this section, we need a tide at Gladstone of 1.6 meters, plus the draft of our vessel, and a little safety margin before we can attempt to transit this section. Now, IMPI has a draft of 1.3 meters, so 1.3 meter draft plus 1.6 meter tide at Gladstone, 0.0 tide at Cattle Crossing, means we need to read a tide of 2.9 meters at Gladstone before attempting to pass this section, and because we want some safety margin, it's safe to say 3.2 meters is best, as this will provide 300 millimeter clearance under the keels.
Life is good, eh, love? Anna's got the little lighthouse just behind her there. Leaving for Gladstone. This is where we spent the night. And now we're heading down to the Narrows.
It's officially the end of an era. The very last herd of Monte Cristo cattle made their way across Ramsays Crossing yesterday, saying goodbye to the cattle station they've known for decades. One stubborn bull just didn't want to leave. Keen onlookers watched on as 6 horsemen and over 200 head made the historic trip.
You'll never see it again. This is the last time you'll see cattle come across.
The cattle swam several hundred metres off the island to the mainland under the watchful eye of property manager George Wilson. It was also the end of an era for him, having worked at the cattle station for 42 years. Now it will become home to 3 LNG processing plants and a multi-million-dollar tourism venture. As for the cattle, they arrived safe and sound at the Narrows, trotting off to their new home. Alexandra Cullen, Win News.
Yeah, weather look. Oh. Dracula.
All we have, all we know, reaching out to learn more somehow. Fly in the
Getting wet again. It's just awesome, man, awesome. And there's the island. You've got to go through times like this just to remember that you're alive, man, that you're alive. Right, and these are the Goldsmith Islands. This is Lynn Island on the right. We're going through the passage between these two islands. That there is Farrier Island.
Farrier Island holds some special thoughts for us as our mate Ewan grew up here as a youngster. His parents had a house on the island. You may recall Ewan always welcoming us in grand style to Australia.
Welcome back.
Hey Ewan, thank you my buddy.
I think this is one of the loveliest presents I've had.
It is one of the loveliest presents you've had.
If you can't eat it, you can give it away.
Especially after yesterday, the quarantine, charging me $150.
Here's a tip to all the sailors coming into Australia. What do you throw overboard before you come or eat? Potatoes, onions,
Everything.
eggs, over the side.
Very cool.
This here are the LINDEMAN Island group. You've got Shore Peak and Mount Arthur. Pentecost Island. We're approaching Hamilton Island. Hamilton is where we're going to be staying. So we're going to be going up into the passage of Hamilton Island there. Going towards high tide, we'd have the current with us. There's Hamilton. Well, Hamilton Island is just absolutely fantastic. It's a rich man's island though. Now, we can't share everything about the Whitsundays, but here is a spectacular beach, very well known. It's called Whitehaven and is one of the wonders of the world. Some interesting fish to be seen here too. Some people call these shovel-nosed sharks, but they are actually shovel-nosed rays. How beautiful.
Oh no, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
Amazing, eh? So we're going up into the reef system. Beautiful day.
Amazing.
Bay. It's called Langford. I love the sandy spit on this place. Hey, nice car you got there, lady. Hey, the man's back from trailblazing, man. I've got to capture you.
Hey, Brent.
Hey, my man. How you doing?
Good, buddy. Drove 2 days from here.
Wow, that's incredible. But now you had a whole lot of motorbikes taking off from here because you run a like a scrambling service, right?
Yep.
And the guys went all the way from here, all the way up by motorbike.
All the way to Cape York. Yep.
Cape York, kind of off-road, on-road, the whole lot.
Off-road all the way.
And then you fly them back.
Yep.
That's incredible. Because you've just returned. I mean, you've literally just arrived back, right?
Yeah, just that unloaded camping gear.
Oh, that's amazing. All of these babies up?
Service them, oil change, filter changes, repairs.
This is incredible, eh? How often do you do this, Greg?
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, off they go.
Yeah.
And Greg, thanks for the use of your car, mates. I mean, that has just been incredible.
You guys welcome, hey?
Yeah.
We're YouTube brothers.
Yeah. We're YouTube brothers. I like that. We're YouTube brothers, man. There you go.
Distant winds making silent sounds. Daylight waiting to come relieve the night. So let it shine, shine, shine.
Look at this guy, man. These Aussies are tough, eh? There goes our new sail onto the truck. I'm not allowed out because I don't have boots on.
Are the rods?
Hey? Yeah, they're also going. I would really help you, man.
There's goes our old sail. Bye. Let's do it. Whoa, look at that. What a machine. Wow.
Nothing left where the footprints stand. Roads ahead under scarlet sand. Twilight reaching like angels through the sky.
Oh yeah, look at that. Is it big for you?
Yeah.
But there's two. Yeah, Evolution sails. Very cool, eh?
Those are nice. Yeah, I like that grey. That's very nice.
Awesome. Right guys, so you'll see us talking a little bit about Evolution sails from time to time. Gold Coast, Australia. Evolution sails have been fantastic. Now I just want to say that we receive absolutely no remuneration for saying anything about Evolution sails. In fact, we just do this because they're an absolute fantastic company. They've produced a good quality product. We get no favors from Evolution sails. Nice people, brilliant product, delivered on time every time. So we actually started out with building a Genoa for Impi.
This is the furling head sail for Brent and Anna's boat called Impi. It's got blue Weathermax UV strip on it, and the sail material itself is Hydronet, so they should get a lot of good years out of the sail.
Let it shine, shine, shine. Shine on me.
They put it onto Facebook and kept us updated with what they were doing, which is very nice to see. Graham, how's it going, mate?
Very good, mate.
Did you get here okay through that circle, that traffic circle? They call traffic circles roundabouts in this country.
nice to see the sail in action. I'd asked them to build the Genoa much bigger than the original Lagoon 440 Genoa, and to put more power into the Genoa. We got measurements for the full size and the various reef size, and we felt that we would rather reef sooner but have the ability to sail in lighter airs, especially heading for Indonesia. It's been a fantastic sail. It's worked well. It worked so well, in fact, that we then decided to go for a screecher to add to our arsenal of sails, already being a spare Genoa, an asymmetric sail, and a spinnaker. We decided to actually go the route of a screecher too.
How you doing, my lad?
Good, mate. Good.
There's the
yourself?
man. There's the man.
There you go, mate.
We're going out for a trial today, Graham.
Yes, mate. We're going to go out. Have a beautiful morning.
Graham, Evolution Sails, the man. That sail's too small. Where's my big sail? That's what my last chick said. Of breeze, and so they built the screecher, and sailing on the Genoa and the screecher, we could just feel the performance in Impi was absolutely terrific. And so by the time we got to Cairns, we decided to go with the Hydronet mainsail as well for Impi, and with the RBS batten boxes, which are expensive but good quality, the extra lightweight battens and the whole trip.
Hi, this is Helen from Evolution Sailmakers on the Gold Coast. We're just in our upstairs loft at the moment, and we're just manufacturing a mainsail for a Lagoon 44 Cat Impi, Brent and Anna, who are up in Cairns at the moment. We are making their mainsail out of Dimension Polyol's Hydronet, which is a ultra high modulus polyethylene cloth, so basically Spectra or Dyneema, and that gives it great longevity and strength, so it retains its shape for a lot longer. On our brand new sewing machine, you see that they've put webbing on the batting pockets. Okay, that's just to give it a little bit more protection when you're sitting the mainsail against side strain for a couple of days. And Cadrick's back here making the patches for the reef points. Very technical stuff. One might say you need to be an architect to do this, Cadrick. Guys, this is Helen from Evolution Sailmakers, just giving you a 24-hour update on where we're at with the Lagoon 44 mainsail for Brent and Anna on Cat Impi. Cadrick has now just put the batten pockets in. He's just stitching that up there. The reefing points have been spliced into the sail using Dyneema, so they're a nice strong point. Yes, the battens are going to be fitted. We're using RBS battens, and that's about it. That's how you make a sail. We'll give you an update tomorrow. She's nearly finished. We are going to ship her early morning tomorrow morning. So as you can see, the adjustable batten boxes are on, the headboard plate is on, the reefing points are on. The boys have hand stitched nicely in all the corners. It's Hydronet cloth from Dimension Polyant. So it's all Spectra Dyneema mainsail. Going to keep its shape for some blue water cruising. It's got a overhead leech line, so you can adjust your leech line not from the outside of your sail, but rather nice and easily from the mast. That's the overhead leech line that goes across that second batten pocket there. The big square top main, that's your diagonal batten up there. So this sits on whatever car you've got. Could be a Ronstand, Fredrickson, Harkin, whatever system you've got on your mast. This pulley, you've got your 2-to-1 halyard goes in there, and when you pull your main up, you can imagine how that just pulls up nice and easily, and then when you lower your main, that whole square top main just flips nicely and sits inside your boom bag nice and easily. 7 battens in this main. It gets rid of the need to have any intermediate cars. So the sail is finished, and we're going to be shipping it up to Cairns tomorrow for Brent and Anna. Again, thanks very much for watching. See you guys.
It's really nice just to be able to see the progress of one's sails in the making when you're not physically there. So Evolution Sails, well done guys. You get a 10 out of 10 from IMPI. We love you guys. And basically this is to slide the car over, and the ball bearings will all go into here, and then that allows me to take each car off with the ball bearings so that the ball bearings don't all fall out. We had 5 fully battened cars, and now we're going to have 7 cars.
Oh, I remember those little things.
Yeah, you don't want those things falling everywhere.
No.
You see the cars sit now on that piece of track.
So we need to take our piece of track out.
So we take our piece of track out, then this goes into the middle. For the ones we're going to remove off our mast, very similar. So this is an aluminium track, and that is just a wooden track, basically just to hold the cars.
Or do they stay on?
No, they come off with the cars. So you cap them off on the ends, and then it's the way to store your cars with the ball bearings. And here's a beautiful couple called Vicky and Tony, who we met first time we were in Australia. One of the first people to come up to us and greet us and welcome us, and sailing couple on a boat called Latitudes. And they sailed up here to come and help us to install the sail. Just great friends.
Stand by.
What's it? Yeah.
Get a bunch of flavours, get fruit.
There it is.
There we go. Yeah, she just...
Yay!
There we go.
Perfecto.
She's in. Very good. We were born slow.
You behave, Tony. You're on camera.
No, that's good. Oh, they've actually sewn it?
Yeah, they've sewn it. The plastic one.
Oh, it's probably because it knocks the deck.
Yeah.
Should we do that up there? Thank you, my friend.
In South Australia I was born.
Good day, pirates.
In South Australia round
there we
Cape
go,
Horn.
there's a bit of spirit coming into it.
All the way you're rolling king.
There's a bit of spirit coming into it.
All the way you'll hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. As I walked out one morning fair, heave away, haul away. It was there I met Miss Nancy Blair. We're bound for South Australia. There's just one thing that's on my mind. Heave away, haul away. That's leaving Nancy Blair behind. We're bound for South Australia. And as we wallop around Cape Horn, heave away, haul away. You wish to God you've never been born. We're bound for South Australia. Haul away, you're rolling king. Heave away, haul away.
Well, back to the serious stuff. That was a lot of fun though. Because we find ourselves in storms sometimes on a leeward shore, it's very important for us to be able to have motors to motor our way off a shore in this situation. And one of the concerns of sailing in Indonesia is that sometimes you get poor quality fuel, so this needs to be processed before it actually reaches the diesel tank, in my opinion. Well, Anna wrote a blog about the different types of fuel in Indonesia and what to expect with the different kinds of fuel. Before we leave for Indonesia, we want to make sure that we have a way of treating this. Now, some folks are quick to say that we should not be relying on engines as sailors. However, I hold a totally different point of view on this since we have been in many really aggressive storms. We've been stuck in storms for days. In the old days, boats would have perished in these storms, and we believe that you use everything that you possibly can to survive some of these situations. So something that I'm really careful about is always showing total respect for the sea. It's very important to me to always respect the oceans and what power they have. Now, some sailors who have just cruised around the world quickly and not really been at it for years and years and years also would sort of say that they never had serious weather conditions because they were that good at reading weather, doing weather predictions and using technology for that. However, you know, if you're a long-term cruiser and you're not cruising on the gentle routes, the sort of well-traveled routes, you're going out of season to areas because you want the remoteness and you want to be alone out there or with few yachts. Chances are, you know, that you are going to be sailing into storms. Sometimes unpredicted storms. And that's why we hold this view that it's sometimes good as a cruising cat to have the use of engines. And then of course you have no wind sometimes, and then, you know, one needs to be able to motor, especially in Indonesia, you can get very light winds. Right, so these are some of the reasons that we'd want to be able to rely on our engines. Not that we need to use them regularly, but when we do need them and we are using them, it's usually for a reason. Either we becalmed or we in very serious weather conditions. Here in Cairns, we actually took the time to set up a good diesel polishing system, transfer system, and I'm going to put the link underneath the description of this video. I will also put a link to Anna's fantastic blog that she wrote about the different types of diesel there that you get in Indonesia, what the pros and cons of each one is, and I'll leave a link to the video that I posted about this up here. Well, there we go. Cairns was an amazing place to get our sails sorted out, get our fuel pump transfer sorted out, and just amazing people there too. Really enjoyed Cairns.
Coffee time again. Oh, that's cool. Oh, and what do we have here? Thank you, love. Toast and avocado pear.
What you wanna be, do what you wanna do, and if it sets you free, believe in only you. Yesterday is gone, forget about tomorrow, and the ceilings you see right through. Find the moment and make it. Write your headline and raise it to the sky. No one else can create it. Take your banner and raise it to the sky. There's only one way out, inside a prison view. 10 whispers or a shout, gunpowder if it's true. Smoke before the fire. No one else can slay the dragon sleeping inside of you. Find the moment and make it. Write your headline and raise it to the sky. No one else can create it. Take your banner and raise it to the sky.
We got past all of the marina.
Very pretty place. That's the Port Douglas Yacht Club right there.
Time holding back tomorrow. Sky smiling through the wind. Time holding back tomorrow. Sky smiling through the window. Counting down the hours like corners in the road. No more stress to hold on to. Time to let it go. It's time to let it go.
There's a whale. We went right past him. We nearly went over him. Saw that whale, I was able to divert him. It's what I love about the bridge on these boats. Hey, that was close, eh? They sometimes don't hear you coming. You know, you're just sneaking up with the wind and the waves and the boat's just cruising along. We're doing 9 knots coming up to the whale, and we don't want to hit a whale doing 9 knots. Now I've got a beady eye out, man.
When the sun goes down, we're gonna turn this up tonight. Move your feet around till it makes
Amazing
you
sailing.
feel alright.
Awesome, man.
Eternal nights under lights. DJ cooking up sides on the stereo. Got us feeling like chasing lightning when it strikes. Electrified. Wanna live it up right now. Write all our names in lights. Let's go out and paint this town and live our lives out loud. We just wanna scream and shout and give it to the sound. Give it to the sound.
You can see that squall coming across there. So at this stage we're heading for an open harbour, open to the ocean. It's called Portland Roads, and it's a secluded spot here on the northeast cape of Australia. It has some great colonial history to it. People like William
Blythe sailed in here and went to the nearby island called Restoration Island when there was the mutiny of the Bounty in 1789, and a guy called Edmund Kennedy passed through in 1848 as part of his last fatal expedition, and James Cook sailed by here also in the 1770s. More recently, between 1942 and 1943, over 7,000 American and Australian military personnel came here to establish a fallback position during World War II. Interesting history here. Anyway, it's time to move north, and here we're heading past Cape York. We're actually up at Mount Adolphus Island now. And here where we are currently sailing lies the wreck of the fateful ship called Cueta, with 60 passengers bound for London plus 66 Javanese and other people. And among the passengers were some prominent Queenslanders of the time, when on the night of 28 February 1890, the ship struck an uncharted rock at low tide in the Adolphus Channel. Well, 134 souls were lost to the sea here, and this is mostly what Mount Adolphus, the island, is still renowned for. For Impi though, this is a great place to have a rest and take a good look at weather before crossing through the Torres Straits. Well, this is part of the Torres Straits, but it's just a good opportunity to rest up and plan that passage. The currents and the tides run pretty wild here, and one wants to time things carefully.
That is Horn Island. Coming up for Horn Island, you've got Horn, and behind it Thursday Island. Turquoise blue waters today here in the Torres Straits. The Genoa is struggling a bit. We've got the wind from behind, so the mainsail is sort of shadowing it. And if it was dead downwind, I'd just flick it over, up and down, but we're just going to drift in here. We've got plenty of time on our hands. For wing on wing sailing. Horn Island over here. They call this the Wednesday Island group over here. And you've got the Tuesday Island over here. Not sure what it is to do with all the days of the week. Might have been some time Captain Cook just took time out to check out the islands. Well, we've departed Australia many times before. For a country we never intended visiting initially, we were going to sail past Australia. Well, somehow it's like a magnet. Every time we think it's our last departure, something brings us back to this wonderful land down under. Here's a Facebook departure from 2017, and the series we're doing right now is 2021 going 2022. Guys, we just want to thank all of you Aussies, man, for being such wonderful, amazing and generous people to Anna and I mean, honestly, we cannot get over how generous you guys have been to us. You have a very friendly nation. You have a lot to be proud of.
New Caledonia is beckoning. Some very exciting developments with animal welfare there, and we'll be sharing that with you when we get to New Cal. But to all you Aussies who have been so good to us, to Glenn Smith for lending us a car for well over a month, Ewan with all the coffees, Rory taking us out to suppers, so many people that we could thank here. I mean, it's just been incredible for us. Thank you again, Australia. You guys have a great country. Cheers for now. Brent and Anna, we're signing out, love?
Out.
Out.
After many long months among the sea and the stars, New Caledonia is in sight of our bound. With a wheel in my hands and a thrill in our hearts, we've crossed this great ocean to our port is Lafound. Moose comes running and greets us again. Our old friends or new friends, all we have and all we know, reaching out to learn more somehow. Fly happy fly, the sea will work for our way. Fly dolphins sing their songs as they play in the sun. The ocean runs through me like a vein of blue gold, and my heart is again stolen like the sea songs of old. Moose comes running and greets us again. Our old friends or new friends, all we have and all we know, reaching out to learn more somehow. Fly happy fly, the sea will work for our way. Fly happy fly, fly, the wind at our backs will fly. Fly happy fly, the sea will work for our way. Fly happy fly, fly, the wind at our backs will fly.